Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Simon and today I am back on a very grey day, so I'm apologising in advance if this is a little bit grainy in the background. It is super duper ridiculously grey today. I mean, I don't mind it, I'm all for it. I like these gloomier times, but yeah, apologies. Let's all move on from the lighting. Let's get over it. It's autumn in the UK. What is to be expected? So I thought, as the lighting wasn't great, I would do a kind of shorter video that I've been meaning to do for ages, and that is my 10 before the end, which are 10 books I would really like to get to before the end of the year. And this was started by the wonderful Brett, who I have followed and known on Instagram and has gone to the joys that are YouTube here in this lovely booktube space. Well, not literally here in my house. I mean, it'd be lovely if you popped around and did come and see the library at some point. But anyway, I will link his channel down below because you should all be heading to it. But yeah, he came up with the idea of just sharing 10 books that you would like to get to by the end of the year. I have chosen books that have all come out in 2022 because at this time of year, they're the ones that I kind of want to get to more. Now, some of these might not be the books you'd expect because there's a few favourite authors that I haven't got to yet this year and stuff, but this is kind of just what I fancy right now, and possibly says sort of maybe the direction my reading is going a little bit. Anyway, I've waffled on for long enough. By the time I finished this intro, it could have practically, I can't even speak. By the time I finished the intro, it could have practically gone pitch black. So let's get cracking. And first up, I'm doing these in order of size, although I have the finished hardback of this. But we have Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies by Maddie Mortimer. I've been meaning to read this for ages. Ewan of Hardback Hype Beast, who hasn't done any videos for a while. Ewan, come on, we're waiting for them, waiting. He raved about this and said it is utterly heartbreaking and will make me cry, which I'm kind of up for, frankly. I find it quite lethargic, that, with the book. And so, yeah, this is all about the tale of a woman who has cancer, and the book is partly told by cancer, and Maddie Mortimer wrote this book for her mother. It was on the Book Prize long list, and yeah, I'm really keen to get to it as soon as possible. I've been saying that all year. You'll find I have about a lot of these books, actually, including Other Names for Love by Taymour Soomro. And I think I've talked about this on this channel like a ridiculous amount of times, also possibly mentioning my ridiculous crush on Taymour. But anyway, back to the book. This is, I think, a father-son relationship set in India, well, in rural Pakistan, and it's all about the fact that the young man, or the young boy, or the son, is kind of awakening to his sexuality, and then we get this story. And I've been, well, like I said, wanting to read it all year, haven't got around to it. I'm an absolute one. I'm hoping to have a coffee date actually with Taymour very soon. Then we have a book that's only recently arrived. I ordered this from afar, from Canada indeed, via the joys of Blackwell's, and this is The Sleeping Car Porter by Suzette Mayr, and this is, I think, possibly based on a true person from, or sort of inspired by true events and a true sleeping car porter in history. I could be very wrong, but it's about what it was like to be black and queer in Canada before it was maybe even spoken of, actually. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, well, not spoken of, but you know what I mean, before it was like even seen as being vaguely socially acceptable. I can't get my words right, and this jumper's making me a bit sneezy. That's what happens for a big woolly one. Anyway, yeah, this recently won the Giller Prize, and when I saw it on the long list, I was intrigued by it. Then when it got onto the short list, I was even more intrigued about it, and then it went on to win, and I was like, I've got to read it, and thankfully Blackwell's helped me with that one. So yeah, I'll be heading to this very soon, I imagine. I have wanged on about how much I want to read briefly A Delicious Life by Nell Stevens, which is the Sapphic ghost tale, all about a ghost who is living in a monastery, and who wants to protect women who come to stay there, but actually ends up falling in love with one of the women who's coming to stay, who is, oh, that made a crack, George Sand, who dresses in stereotypically male clothing, who's arrived in 1838 with Frédéric Chopin and her children. And this ghost sort of falls for her, and we follow on from there. And I just think it sounds amazing. I'm annoyed with myself that I didn't read it over spooky season. Shame on me. Then we have, and I talked about this in my haul recently because I got the Australian edition, Limberlost by Robbie Arnott. I have no idea what goes on in this book. I don't want to know what goes on in this book, so don't you dare tell me. But I'm really, really keen to get to it before the end of the year. I've loved every single, well, both of Robbie Arnott's previous books. I'm actually quite shocked that I haven't read this yet because it is now out. I got sent it super duper early. But when I get books from authors I love, I get so excited, but also so nervous because like, what happens if I don't like it? What happens if I don't like it? I should have faith, as George Michael would have told me if he'd had the chance. Yeah, I should be getting to this very, very soon. Again, maybe I should have said take a shot every time I say I'm going to get to this soon. Possibly, along with The Sleeping Car Porter, this is currently the book that I'm most excited about, and until fairly recently hadn't heard of it. It's Iris by Fiona Kelly McGregor, and I did talk about this as well in my last haul because that's when I got it. This is a fictionalized account of historical 1920s, 1930s, sorry, the underbelly of 1930s Sly Grog Sydney, and we meet Iris, and on the back it says, who is Iris Webber? A thief, a fighter, a wife, a lover, a scammer, a schemer, a friend, a musician, a worker, a big-hearted fool, a woman who has prevailed against the toughest gangsters of the day, defying police time and time again, yet is now trapped in a prison cell, guilty or innocent. And I love that when you've got someone who is in prison and you're trying to work out whether they have done it or not. Generally, they probably haven't, because that's kind of the hook, but you never know. And that keeps you on the edge of your seat, and that's very, very exciting. Or even on the edge of your pants, dependent. Maybe, like me right now, both. So we have that one. Another book, historical, that I've wanged on about this year and how much I'm desperate to read it and still blink and haven't, is Joan by Katherine J. Chen. This is a fictionalised account of the life of Joan of Arc, and I'm excited for it. I can't believe I've not read it. Actually, right about now seems the perfect time to read it. I feel like I've got a historical binge wanting to happen, in part through La Bona, which I talked about in my last reading blog, which is one of my favourite books of the year so far, and also having read The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. I'm actually thinking that these could technically be my December TBR. However, and the reason that you might think, why are you waiting until December? Like, you've got a good few weeks in November left. I've got ideas for 2 reading vlogs over the next couple of weeks before the 1st of December. Oh, sorry, the book was cracking. Now I'm cracking. I'm breaking up. So, final 3. Well, I've done this quite quickly. I have wanted to read everything this author has written, backlog, since I read, this is not good preparation, The Lonely Hearts Hotel. This is Heather ONeill's latest though, which hasn't come out in the UK, but I had imported because I loved her writing so much in that book. I was like, I must read everything. Bought everything, was thinking about reading Lullabies for Criminals, and then I saw this one, which is all about friendship, although originally I thought it was about Marie Antoinette, but I got that wrong. I thought it was historical fiction. And very keen for this one. If I hold brighter colours up closer, everything brightens up. It's the joy of iPhones. But I believe it's about friends who become frenemies, and it's set in 19th century Montreal. And I'm intrigued. Maybe that does make it historical. I'm not always very good with my centuries and what's what. So don't ask me what century now, because I probably won't be able to tell you. And then penultimately we have, and one of those books going to fall over, Nightcrawling by Layla Motley. And again, this was on the Booker long list. It was one of the ones I was most excited to read. I didn't get around to reading the long list. I did read the short list with my mum. Loads of people were absolutely shocked and surprised that this wasn't on the short list. So yeah, I'm intrigued, and I've seen, I think it was Jen who had a really emotional reaction to it, but I think several people have, and that intrigues me all the more. So we have that, and last but not least, in possibly one of the quickest videos I've ever done, because we are heading to midnight practically, even though it's actually about 4:45. We have The Rabbit Hutch by Tess Gundry, and I wanted to read this before it won anything. I genuinely did. That's honestly true. And that was because it was a book set in an apartment block, and I love that as a setting. There's a few of those that I've got on my TBR, and some actually coming out next year that I'm really, really excited for. It then went on to win the Waterstones Book of the Year, and has just won the National Book Award. So yeah, I'm really, 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 really keen to head to this very, very soon. I know Jalen over at the Book and the Podcast absolutely loved it, and he's done an interview with her, which I want to watch as soon as I have read this. But yeah, very, very, very excited for it. And you'll notice there was no non-fiction there, because me and non-fiction haven't had a great year, and I don't want to put any pressure on myself to force myself to read it, because I don't think that really, really helps. But before you can no longer see me, I shall go. But do go and check Brett's channel. Like I said, I'll link it down below. And in the comments below, let me know the 10 books that you would most like to read before 2022 is through. Wow. I need to hold these up, because if I hold my white sleeves up, I might appear a little bit brighter. There we go. I'm still here. I'll speak to you all soon, and not leave recording until so late in the day. But I really fancy doing this today. So there we go. Goodbye.